All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our monthly conversation with our mental health ministry. Looking forward to a great conversation this evening. I want to welcome everyone that's watching on social media. If you can go ahead and begin to share this to your page so that those who are friends with you can see the feed and participate in the conversation. And even those that will watch it later, be sure if it's something that blesses you, be sure to share it so that your friends can also be blessed. As I shared in our weekly newsletter, I think this is a nice conversation for the family to participate in. And so those of you that may be near your children or near family members, adult children, younger children, but near family members, this might be a conversation that everyone can participate in and watch and then have a discussion as we go. If you'd like to join the live discussion with us here on Zoom, at the top of the comments, you'll pin to the top of the comments, you'll see a link. You click that link and you can come on Zoom with us. But again, thank you for joining us. And we place it in the hands of our very capable coordinator, one of our coordinators of our mental health ministry, Katrina Rawls Hernandez.
All right, thank you, Pastor. Happy to be back here live with you guys again. I had last semester had to do a lot of recorded sessions, but I'm really glad so I can be here and have conversation. And like Pastor Rawls said, this is something good for the whole family that we can kind of join in. So when I was thinking about what we were going to do for this topic this week, I just thought about just the current state of the world, not just the United States, but the world at large, and how everybody's kind of bullying each other, mean. Everybody's looking out for self. Nobody's really looking out for their fellow neighbor. Nobody's really trying to do anything to promote brotherly love on a large scale. So just so that we can remember that it's not just about us. It's about what we can do to help others as God helps us. Also just kind of talking about the pastor has been talking about in the pulpit, even for our holiday sermon, it was talking about it's better to be a giver than trying to receive, and see how much you can get and what you can get. Also with our Bible studies, when we're talking about being a disciple and what we can do as being disciples of Christ. So I just want to kind of tie all that together in our session today. So Pastor Rawls, Roxalina, Brother Cohen, as y'all are in here, if you hear me talking about something and you want to jump in and you want to make a comment, please do so. But really, I just want to talk about how we can help others and be the change. And Roxalina, did you want to add anything to this before we get started? Pastor Rawls?
Nope, I'm all ears and listening. I'm fine. Go right ahead.
All right, Pastor Rawls, you're gonna handle the PowerPoint for us?
Just let me know when it's clear.
I'm ready. All right, so what does helping others promote? There's lots of different things that we can ourselves get out of helping others. Acts of kindness have the potential to make the world a happier place. As I said, it's been so stressful with the COVID, with the police brutality that was ongoing even during COVID, with these court cases and the murders and things like that. People are unhappy, people are upset. And so just a way of finding how we can bring kindness back into our society. An act of kindness can boost feelings of confidence, being in control, happiness, and optimism. So if you say, well, what does helping others have to do with mental health? Mental health is how you are feeling emotionally, how you are feeling if you're stressed, if you have anxiety. So if people are in the world being mean, being horrible, excluding people because of the way they look, because of what they have or what they don't have, then these are the type of things that need to be put back into the world so people don't feel that exclusion and they don't feel isolated and they don't feel stress and anxiety. So it also helps to encourage others to repeat the good deeds that they've experienced themselves. So scientifically, if you're doing something for someone else, it's usually kind of catching. And so other people are like, oh, well, Pastor Ross did this for me the other day. Let me see how I can help somebody else. So just contributing to a more positive community. So by helping others, we help ourselves. So why help others? Why do we need to help others? So there's 7 scientific benefits that I found of helping others. It helps you live longer. That happiness that you get from helping others increases your likeliness to live longer is one of the benefits. Altruism is contagious. So like I said, when somebody helps you, then sometimes that makes a ripple effect. And so they're helping other people because you've helped them. Helping others make us feel happy. We feel good about ourselves once we're able to help somebody and help them get something done. Help them. I remember Pastor Ross talked about getting a tarp for somebody who's living in a tent, and they're so grateful just to get that tarp so they're not wet when it rains. So those type of things that we can do for other people. Helping others may help with chronic pain. It lowers blood pressure. So anybody who's stressed, high blood pressure, helping others is scientifically proven to lower your blood pressure. It promotes positive behaviors, and it gives us a sense of purpose. You know, what are we here for? Why are we here in this world? And one of your purposes can be to help others. So different ways to help others. Offering kindness proactively, make sure you're paying attention to people around you. Pastor Ross talking about just seeing somebody, seeing them for a human being, not just walking past people when they're suffering, when they're having problems, seeing people for who they are, and that's a human being. So pay attention to people around you. Think about what you can do to make their lives easier. Volunteering is a good way to help others. If you're going to volunteer your time at soup kitchens, if that's something that's available for you. I know the church has a lot of food giveaway, and so that's a way that you can volunteer your time. Community services is one of the best ways to improve the lives of others. So you can donate to a cause, donate unused items, and then just saying thank you. Just being nice to people can change perspective. You don't know what somebody's dealing with in the background, so just being kind, saying thank you can make a big difference. So other ways of helping people: smile. Don't walk around with a frown on your face. Be compassionate. Think about how you would feel, how you would want to be treated. Be compassionate to people. Be polite. It costs nothing to be nice to people. So when you're being nice to people, they kind of ripple effect, and they can be nice to others. Listen to what people have to say. Like really listen. Don't just, oh yeah, all right, it's good to see you. Okay, bye. Really understand and listen to what they're saying. Try to key into, you know, how do I think this person's feeling today? How are you really feeling? Like really talk to them and see if they could use some help. Be kind to the people you meet. You never know who you're gonna meet. What was that story, Pastor, about the angel that came to the door and the people were passing them up and passing them by, and they didn't even realize that was something sent by God. So just be kind and be nice to people. Don't judge. Just because somebody has clothes that are different than yours, not as much as you have, skin a different color, don't judge people. Give everyone an equal chance to be seen and to be heard. Give others the credit they deserve. Stop to help when somebody needs help. Somebody drops something, stop and pick it up. It costs nothing to help somebody if they need help. So when someone asks you how you're doing, ask them, hey, I'm good. How are you? And genuinely listen to what they say when they answer you, when you ask how they're doing. Okay, so I have a short video that we're going to take a look at. Pastor, if you could hit that up for us.
Now, some of the things that's going to happen when you look out and see what can I contribute to, what can I give, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a voice that's saying, it's just no use. It's out of control now. There will be a voice telling. Now, some of the things that's going to happen when you look out and see what can I contribute to, what can I give, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a voice that's saying, it's just no use. It's out of control now. There will be a voice telling you that you'll be wasting your time and wasting your energy and wasting your effort. I say, don't listen to it. Listen to that still small voice that says, I can do something, and I ought to do it. We ought to do it. Disraeli said this: nothing can resist the will of a people that will stake even their existence on the extent of their purpose for good. I strongly believe that all of us have some work to do, that each one of us showed up to do something, that each one of us showed up to contribute something to life, and that if we don't do it, it will not be done. Be it that you want to help and contribute to youth or do something for the homeless, whatever you want to do, if you get up in the morning out of a sense of ought-ness and decide that I am an opening for the universe, that life can work through and use me as a channel and as an instrument for change.
How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have two choices: love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
Begin to see yourself as an opening for the universe, to move through, to work through, to make a difference in life. See yourself being used by life to improve the quality of life, to expand and to grow.
The impossible is truly possible. There are so many great stories and examples of kids.
Thank you, Pastor Rawls. Oh, that was it. Okay. All right, so then I wanted to tie that all into being a disciple and what we've been talking about in Bible study. And so being a disciple calls for helping others. And then the definition that I found says discipleship is intentionally equipping believers with the word of God through accountable relationships, through the empowerment of the Holy Spirit in order to replicate faithful followers of Christ. And so one of those things that we can do is being a good disciple. Give me that next line, Pastor Rawls. Is to serve the Lord by serving others. Okay, so the photo coming up is a person has two hands, one from helping himself, the other one is for helping others. So just making sure that you're not just always thinking about yourself, you're not always just thinking about how you can get what you want, but also just trying to bless God as He blesses you.
A.D. Williams once said, "Imagine what 7 billion humans could accomplish if we loved and respected one another." Just imagine. Imagine if there was no greed. Imagine if there was no comparison. If everyone was running their own race, but cheering for all others at the same time. Maybe we'll never see that in our lifetime. But what we all can do is start with ourselves. Start with yourself. Choose to lift others up. Choose to set the example of kindness and integrity, the example of compassion and understanding. There's a quote that says, "No matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all." Integrity is everything. It really is. Who you are is far more important than what you have, and it will always be. Who you are is measured by how you make others feel. Be kind to each other. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Choose to be the change you wish to see in the world. Decide you will not wait for someone else. You will set the example. Be kind. Because you never know how much that person is suffering inside. You never know the difference your words can make, the difference your presence can make, the difference you can make to one human life. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of humanity. Be the reason someone else decides to make a difference in others. Be the influence you want to see more of. Always do what is right, not what is easy in the moment. Kindness spreads like a virus. When you do good to another, that person does better to those they come in contact with. You really can make a big difference in the world today and every other day. Anne Frank said, "In the long run, the sharpest weapon of all is a kind and gentle spirit." No one has ever made themselves great by showing how small another is. Be kind and always build others up to the best of your ability. Treat everyone with the same level of kindness that you would like for yourself. Not because everyone is nice, but because you are. Because karma makes no mistakes. Because it is right. Because you have integrity. Because you want this world to be better when you leave than when you arrive.
So pretty much that's all I have as far as video and presentation. But I just like to go ahead and continue the conversation about how we can get our children involved with helping others, how we can continue the discipleship of serving God by serving others. So anybody with any comments, any conversation, anything they want to say?
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I do. This brother Cohen. I'm gonna try to hurry
Hello?
up and get in here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get in here, Katrina, before you go any further, because this is a very good lesson. Don't leave too much room to ask any questions. But I do know this when you're talking about dealing with kids. I think I know, not think that a lot of that starts at home. Kids only can bring out what they see. And I think if we show love and compassion and at home, that's what's going to leave the house. If we try to argue in the house and we do these different things and we make up in the house, and they experience from going from arguing to making up, that's what's going to go out the house. I think if families have disagreements or whatever, just like you got a prayer closet, it ought to be a understanding closet, or understanding place where we need to just separate and say, hey, let's go and talk over here, or let's go in this out here in the garage or whatever. What I'm basically saying is love can only be shared by seeing. And I think that's where it starts with the kids. And I always admired Real Monroe's little grandbaby from me when down, and when she was able to talk, she got this little thing about loving and sharing or whatever. But see, that's where it starts at. She's getting bigger now, but she never forgot that. And when you got that type of embedment in a child, that's where it starts at. That one. So I think a lot of that, Sister Rawls, starts right there in the house. And that's because a lot of times you get in these schools and they're talking about our kids and this and that. These parents going out there raising all kind of fuss and stuff, and they knowing that the teacher wasn't in your house last night, you were. So I think a lot of that comes from starting in the house. That's all I got on that, but it's very good stuff here tonight. And I thought I wasn't gonna be able to say anything because it was so good, but I was able to say that. So thank you.
And
Thank
I would
you.
like to piggyback on what Minister Cohen has just said. I can remember when we were living in Connecticut, and I said to my daughter at that time, and she was about 6 or 7 years old, for Thanksgiving, we're going to go down to the Salvation Army, and we're going to be a part of the food distribution. And at that particular time, what they did, the Salvation Army partnership with a catering company, and the catering company provided a full course cooked meal, turkey with all the trimmings, dessert, and a beverage. And my daughter and I showed up on Thanksgiving morning. And what they would do is they would assign a route or route to individuals. And we had about 8 people to deliver this prepared meal to. And initially, my daughter was hesitant because she had never experienced anything like that. But I wanted to show her what it was like to give to individuals that we did not know. So we started out on our route, and we went from door to door, place to place. And as we continued to go on our route, my daughter got a little bit more comfortable, and she started to take the lead in ringing the doorbell and saying hello to the individuals and everything. And I can remember at the end, after we had completed our route, and we went back to the Salvation Army, and I said to my daughter, as we were driving back, I said, how did you like that? And she said, that wasn't too bad at all. I really enjoyed doing that. So I said to her, you know, they're going to have another, you're going to have another opportunity come Christmas to do this. And so she said, okay, I'm willing to take and do that. So that was an experience that she had at a very young age. And my daughter now is 38, soon to be 39. And over the years, I had seen what that seed that was planted very early on in her life has developed. She is such a giver in terms of strangers, anyone that she meets. She gives. And not so now that she's giving with my two granddaughters, she has set an example for them. And that's what they do. They give. That's all that they want. What can I do, Nana, to help? What can I do? What can I do this? So I think about what Minister Cohen said. Sometimes when it starts at home, you plant that seed very early on. And once you plant that seed, it stays with you throughout life. And it develops into your children, your grandchildren, and it's generational. So, but people may say, well, where do I start? It starts at home. And once it starts at home, it can continue.
Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, I think that that as a people, you know, sometimes I look at, and it's not all. It's we can never say all, because there are many of us that are doing well, but I think many of us that are stuck in a cycle. There are some biblical principles that just like 1 + 1 = 2, it just is. And there's some biblical principles that if we did them, things would happen. And the Bible says you reap what you sow. And so if you sow nothing, you reap nothing. And I think that, you know, when I look at, like I was at a scholarship banquet last Sunday night. And each year when I go, you know, you have these kids that are receiving these scholarships, receiving $7,500, $10,000 scholarship. And when you listen to the resumes of the children, you know, the one thing that always stands out, they did community service. They give back to their church. They do this, they do that. And I think that when we teach our children how to give, it just naturally comes back in so many ways. But unfortunately, we're duped into thinking that it's somebody else's responsibility to do for us. And so what I think about when I was young, I think about my granddaddy. He whatever was in season, he would pick. That's how he made a living. That's how he took care of his family. If it was pecans, if it was oranges, whatever it was. And he would also take us. Now, in my mind, I never, you know, they probably could have been poor. I don't know. But in my mind, I didn't look at my family as my family heart. I didn't look at them as poor because we always had. But one thing I can remember, my granddaddy, you know, he would have this big old sack. It's this big sack that's probably like was taller than me as a child, but it would be filled with oranges. And so when they picked the oranges, they would keep dumping in these things, and however many things they fill up, that's how they got paid, how many they filled up. But I remember granddaddy would always bring a sack home. And as he brought that sack home, now my granddaddy wasn't perfect. He wasn't perfect. He was granddaddy. But I remember what he had, because there was one piece in there said that if you keep waiting on getting everything to give, that you'll end up never giving anything. Learn to just give what you're blessed to be able to give. And my granddaddy might not have been able to give people $100 or $50, this or that, but oranges that he probably could have made a little bit more money on, he would bring a sack home. And as he walked through the neighborhood over there in Hawthorne in the projects, he would give oranges. And that might not seem like a lot to some people, but to the people that were receiving it, that was a nice gesture. You know, you got people that give greens, give this or give that. And those people, when you look at it, they were blessed. you we might look at it today if we knew the income is like, well, they really didn't have that much. But if you lived it, you didn't even think you were poor or didn't have much, because you had everything you needed, because you were a giver. God provided everything that you need. And I think today, because we just don't have that giving back, we don't teach our children to give. We don't, when I say we, I got to stop saying that. But many of our people that are stuck in a cycle, we don't teach our children to give. It's always about what I can get. And I think Byron said, or somebody said earlier, about how parents approach school and approach this. No, you have an attitude to give to the classroom. You have a behavior to give. You have something to give to the teacher. It's not always about what you receive. And our parents, we have to make sure that we're just teaching our children how to give, and life will pay them back when they learn to be givers. But if you don't sow good stuff, you can't expect to reap good stuff from life. And we have a responsibility to train our children to be givers to the world, givers to, but sometimes the stuff we go through sometimes make us hard, and then get thinking that people owe us. Life doesn't owe us anything. But if we want to get what God has promised us out of life, we got to be sure to make sure that we're giving of what God gave us, and don't wait until you think you have everything that's worthy of giving. Give based on what you have the ability to give.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I heard Roxalina say something about generational. So there's generational blessings, and there can be generational curses that can come upon us if we're not doing what we need to do as far as giving back to others and blessing people as God blesses us. And like Pastor Ross says, you don't have to have $1 million to be running out and giving out all this money and all these things in order to be able to help others. Like small gestures can come back to you as blessings. So just try to be kind, try to give whatever you can, whether it's a smile, whether it's a picking up something somebody dropped. I remember me and Aiden were going through a drive-through and at McDonald's, and we were sitting waiting. We made our order, and there was a guy in a truck in front of us, and we were like, okay, this guy. So when we pulled up to our window, this guy had already paid for our food. Just like small random acts of kindness. And we didn't even get a chance to say thank you. He drove off and went on about his business. But like just being able to do for people when you see they need help. If I see somebody, we're in a store and they struggling and in their purse trying to dig out pennies, I got this, ma'am. I got this, sir. Just add my stuff to their stuff and I will pay for their stuff. Not that I have no whole bunch of money, but I have enough for me and my kids, and we have a little left over. And so it makes me feel good to be able to bless people in that way. And I have also experienced people blessing me in that way.
You know what I want to just add to that, Katrina, it seems to me that when we do that, we're giving them exactly what they need. That's the beautiful part about it, you know. And if we're prompted to do that, it's almost like it's answering their prayer or their need. It's meeting their need. And then sometimes they're kind of surprised because maybe they've prayed and asked for that. And here we are the vessel or the vehicle to provide that need that they're asking for or that they need at that particular time.
Peter, they were walking by this man, and he couldn't walk, and he was at the gate begging for money, and he and as Peter and John walked by, they looked at him. They said, "Silver and gold. We don't have silver and gold to give you, but what we do have we're going to give you." It said, "Take up your bed and walk." Mm-hmm. And because he couldn't walk, meaning he couldn't provide for himself, that's why he had to beg. And he was able to pick up his bed and walk, and now he could take care of himself. And I remember this instance last month, and I'm not going to put the sister out there by name, but I am going to put the situation out there because it might help somebody. But this sister came by the church, And she told me, you know, she was a member of the church, and she wanted to know if we were doing anything with the kids. And I said, yeah, we have a charter bus reserved, and we're going to take the children. Everybody is available, but children, the children, everybody, and we're going to fill up a charter bus, and we're going to go and sing Christmas carols and give gifts to all of our members. You know, that our senior members that are over 80 years old. And I was like, it's going to be nice. You know, I was amped up about it. And she was like, oh, we really can't. She's like, well, what I was talking about, she's like, every year, you all always give gifts and gift cards. And I was like, well, this year, we're going to encourage everybody to give. And that sister lost interest because she was, and I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but from what I saw, she lost interest and wasn't interested in sending her kids out to give, but she was more interested in getting that gift. And that mentality, it keeps you in a it keeps you in a always asking mode, because you don't give God space to bless you to be able to do it, because what you're sowing nothing, and it comes back. And so that might seem difficult and harsh, but you know, even if the person that I'm talking about can get this concept of teaching your children how to give, as opposed to coming to the church to get a gift or a gift card, but if the church is giving you an opportunity to go and be a blessing to all of our senior members and all of us that went, I mean, it was a blessing to see the smiles and that were on the people's faces from us doing something as simple as taking a bag of gifts and a busload of people getting out, getting off a charter bus and singing a couple Christmas songs. That was invaluable. And so I think we were more blessed, especially by the words of appreciation that they gave. But you had to be in a mindset to give. And we cheat ourselves and our children, because we many of us remained in a place to where we can't be anything but cursed. You know, I see my cousin on here watching Katrisa, and when you see families like that, they teach their children how to give to their community. And you say, you know, why are they so blessed? Because they know how to give. And you don't, like Trina said, you don't have to be able to give $1 million, but just give what you're able to give, and then watch God, because God will give it back, because God knows that he can trust you to be a blessing to someone else. And it's not always money. It might be something just putting joy. But if we can go to that concept, instead of always expecting Mr. Charlie and this person, that person to do for us, but learn to do for others and teach our children how to do for others, we'll find out that you're talking about a wealth gap closing, the wealth gap will close, because God will entrust us. People don't have to like us for God to bless us. But once we show that we're faithful to God, God will, because it all comes from God. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. God owns the earth and the cattle on 1,000 hills. And so if he wants to give it to us, if we show that we're worthy of being trusted, our foreparents had nothing, but they still sent their children to college. Now we have everything and can't do it, because it's in the mindset that we maneuver through this world.
So, Pastor, I think what you're talking about is giving, but not expecting anything in return. That's true giving.
Right.
Giving without expecting anything in return.
Right. And so it's not always that, you know, the wealthy always. No, it's just people that learn how to give and don't expect. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give a perfect example. So the prayer team, and Dr. Cole is on here. She can speak for me. And I'm sure my dad is probably, no, he used to say he's not there, right? But, yeah. So, but the prayer team, we were walking, this was 2 weeks ago, and we were walking through Eastwood Meadows right next to us. And as we were walking, you know, we always joke around and play with the little kids and stuff. And then so it was a group of little kids, they probably ranged from 5 years old to maybe 8 or 9 years old. And so we walked by and laughed with them. And so I joked with them, hey, I need some money, give me some money. I need 50 cents. And And most of the kids, if it was 7 kids out there, 6 of them like, no, we don't have no money. Oh, we don't have no money. We need money from you. But it was one little boy, he reached in his pocket and might have had 35, 50 cents. I don't know what it was. But he was like, well, this all I got. And I think I asked for $1. And all he had was like 50 some cents. That little boy reached in his pocket and gave me his money. And I said, man, I appreciate that right there. And it was all the money in his pocket. I said, I appreciate that. And so in return, I pulled my wallet. I said, well, let me give you something then. Since you blessed me, let me bless you. And I was going to try to pull out like $3, give $3 for 50 cents. Wow, that was good. Well, when I looked at my wallet, I ain't have no ones. All I had was 20s. And so I had to finish it. And so I had to give this little boy a 20. And all he gave me was about 53 cents. And he looked at it, his friends were like, whoa! And that little boy was like, wow! They were just like, awesome. And they couldn't believe it. But God set him up. He was generous. And when I looked at my wallet, I didn't have anyone. And I had to give him something because God told me to show him the reaping and sowing, show him what comes from being a giver. And this boy got $20 for giving 53 cents. And that's what happens in life, not necessarily money for money, but God blows our mind when we're a giver. All of his friends said, no, you're an adult, you give to us. But this little boy went and pulled his little 50 some cent out of his pocket and gave it to me. And in less than 10 seconds after he gave it, his thing had been multiplied by 40. His little 50 cent had been multiplied by 40.
Yep. Absolutely. You have any comments on mine, Pastor? Anybody have anything to say?
No, I'm gonna just say this, Katrina, before you move forward. It's a little piece I remember, the little piece of scripture. It didn't say anything about God liking, but it said God loves a cheerful giver, because all the testimonies and the stories that I'm hearing, it was smiles and just rejoicing for what you did. And I think that's what God looks at when you were saying it don't have to be money for money. He said that's the key word, a cheerful giver, not a match giver. What I call a match giver is somebody's trying to match everything you do or outdo you for is giving financially. But it's all kind of ways to give. I remember a little story, and I see time pushing.
No, go ahead.
No, it was a story that Reverend Dove told one time. I think he got it from presiding the elder. How this guy was on side of a restaurant. I think I might mess it up a little bit, but it's got a point to it. And the guy, was actually, he was hungry and this and that. And he ended up buying the guy something to eat, thinking, them guys just be out there for money or whatever the case is. Because he wasn't going to do it. He went down the road. He turned back around and did it. The story is coming to me now. And what he gave it to him, and as he was walking, he looked in the rear view of his mirror. And all he could see was the guy with his hands to his face, thanking God. So my point is, sometimes we don't know how people's relationship with God is. But that might have been this guy's first time that morning just to tell God, thank you for a blessing. So we just don't know what our giving and our effects do. But when you can make the stories and testimony you're making tonight, you can just reach around and tap yourself. I was a cheerful giver. Amen. That's all I got, Katrina.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. There is one other thing I'm remembering as y'all tell y'all stories. And I won't say what church, but I was a member of this church, cute little church. And we were trying to grow the youth program, and we were trying to do things with the kids. And this church had people in it who were tithing. And so they had several $1,000s in the bank. And so we wanted to do something with the kids. And so we said we were going to take them to Wild Waters and we were going to show them a good time. So the church came back. We had about 20 kids we wanted to take. They said they would give us $200 for 20 kids trying to get in the Wild Waters. And so they really had their fists closed. They had the money in the bank. They say they wanted to grow their youth congregation, but they really didn't want to help us do things for the kids in order to keep them involved and keep them active in the church. And so to this day, it's a cute little church, but it has no members because they just refuse to invest in their children. They refuse to invest in the people who are coming to the church, trying to be at the church, trying to belong to the church. So you just have to be careful how you treat people, whether you making them feel comfortable or not. So whether you really invested in, things that are going on in your church, or you trying to just keep money in the bank so you can say, oh, we got all this money in the bank, but you're not doing anything with it. So you just have to be very, very careful with that.
That's good stuff. This was a good conversation.
Yep. Anybody else have any closing? I see it's you have anything online, Pastor?
Elmer Ross says God loves a cheerful giver. Joan Jones says, wow, what a lesson on giving. She also said God knows the intent of our hearts, and so there's a response. But I think we would do our children well to teach them to be givers. Stop expecting so much and wanting so much, and teach our children how to give. I think you'll be able to retire comfortably because they will be blessed, and you won't spend your senior years trying to take care of children who should be taking care of you by then.
Right.
But we have to put them in a position to be blessed by teaching them how to give. You reap what you sow, and if you sow nothing, you reap nothing.
Yep. And that's how that cycle continues. Selena, do you have anything? Any final words?
I guess just keep giving and continue to treat people kindly, no matter what. You never know what they may be going through at any particular time. And just that kind word or a bit of encouragement may help them along their way. You just never know. And that's just giving of yourself, instead of being self-centered, be people-centered. That's what I would like to add.
Okay.
Katrina, I
Yes,
got
sir.
one more little piece that I learned in life. Don't worry about who's watching you and who you're trying to impress, because it means nothing, because we know who is the real eyes that are watching us, and they know our heart and our intentions. And I used to hear sermons sometime where my wife maybe didn't go to church that Sunday, and the Spirit just spoke to me, and I say, dog, she should have been in church today. Good God Almighty. So I came to learn in life, don't worry about who's not in this service tonight. We have to take the service with us. I had an old buddy of mine, he always say, take the Lord with you wherever you go. And another thing he used to say that came up tonight, whatever you do for God and what's right, that's all that's gonna matter. That's all that's gonna matter. I thank y'all for the revelation tonight. Very good lesson. Thank you so very much, because I ain't never alone. So if somebody missing, I'm gonna have to take this with me, y'all. I'm gonna have to take this with me. That's all I got. That's all I got. All right.
Thank you for sharing, Brother Cohen. Dr. Cole, you have anything you want to say before we finish up?
I would like to say I enjoyed what I heard, and it's so true, that we need to teach our children to be givers, because our children are watching us, and we are our children's first teacher. And I remember my mom was a giver, and I taught that to my children, and I see that my children are givers, and they're teaching their children to give, and that just blesses my heart to see that my children are teaching my grandchildren to be givers. So that's what it's all about.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I enjoyed the service.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Pastor, any closing thoughts?
No, I just think it was a good conversation that teaches us how to be blessed, and we don't have to worry about complaining about what folk don't want us to have and how hard folk make it for us and all this. You give, can nobody in heaven or hell stop God from blessing you if you learn how to be a giver. And because it's a law, what goes up must come down, and what you sow, you will reap. And so we learn to be givers and teach our children to be givers, we'll eternally be blessed. And so we appreciate everybody for joining us. Trina, we had a wonderful conversation. And again, the title of our conversation tonight was the mental health. It was a conversation on, but it was,
I was like, well, I lost it too.
yeah.
Helping others be the change.
Yeah, helping others and be the change. Don't wait for somebody else to do it, you do it. And so it's a great conversation. Please share it with your friends, share it with people, and help people to be blessed. This is a conversation that you can have. Sit down with your family and have this conversation. Go and do something. If it's nothing more than getting your kids together, y'all getting one of them little pickup tools and a bag and picking up some trash off the road, going and taking a senior citizen, finding out what they like to eat and take them a meal, anything you can think of, but learn how to be a giver, and then God will handle the blessing. So we want to thank everybody, share the video. God bless you. We have a few things going on tomorrow. We still have our Real Talk Bible study because I'm participating in an event, but our church is not just made up of who's in-house. We have a very large virtual crowd, virtual membership. And so we're still gonna have our Real Talk Bible study tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Sister Rawls will teach it. And then when she's finished, she'll come over to where I'm serving on a panel at Day Springs Baptist Church. The topic is the role of the Black church in the modern social justice movement. And so that begins at 6:30. And so you feel free to come over there. We have a lot of stuff going on this week. We have our feeding with our food giveaway. People are coming prepared at 9 o'clock. If you want to help prepare the bags, come at 9 o'clock on Friday. If you want to help out with the giveaway, come at 9 o'clock. Well, come about 8:15 on Saturday. The giveaway starts at 9. And then for our young adult ministry, we have a social for everybody that's between 18 and 40-ish. You can bring your children, you can bring a friend, but we really want to establish good, strong relationships with our young adult in the ministry, so that we make sure as we design our ministry, it's designed with our young adults in mind. And so that's going to be at V Pizza, 4 o'clock on Saturday. And so invite everybody from 18 to 40-ish to come out. Bring a friend, bring your children to V Pizza. That's behind the Hampton Hotel over in downtown Gainesville. And then on Sunday, we have Dress What You Like or something like that. Or Rep What You Like. And yeah, rep what you like. And so whether it's a organization or a profession or a team or school, whatever, wear that to church, rep what you like. And then we got free barbecue dinners to take home immediately after worship. So we got a lot of great things that's going on. I'm going to put a little pressure on all young adults. You know, I can't participate in the food giveaway that morning because I have to go to Cocoa to celebrate the life of my cousin, which was really like my uncle that passed away. But then I'm rushing back, and Sister Rose is staying here to help organize and make sure that the young adult social is in order. And I have to rush back to make sure I'm at V Pizza by 4. And so if your pastor's doing all that rushing for you on a day when I have to help funeralize my uncle, I want you all to show up, make an effort to show up, and let's get this young adult ministry going well. 18 to 40-ish, come on out, bring a friend, bring your children. I think that's all we have. So God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Y'all later. Be blessed.
Same to you.
Man, good.